Good day. On December 7, on the sidelines of the Ukrainian authorities, the following rumors, gossip, insiders and opinions were discussed. Gossip. Once again, the office of the president is trying to contain the breakthrough of the Russians with the help of manpower. The mobilized are sent immediately to the front line. Now there is a shortage at the front with the provision of food, fuel, ammunition and combat units. All of these factors increase losses, since the mobilized do not have enough experience to survive in such conditions. Inside. The source said that the office of the president spent $50 million on U.S. lobbyists in 2022, who helped Ukraine get weapons and additional funding. After the elections to the House of Representatives, Bankova decided to strengthen the work with various groups of influence within the Republicans in order to create a group of friends of Ukraine, as well as to make the most of the competition between Trump and DeSantis for the benefit of Kiev. Inside. MI6 transmitted new intelligence to the office of the president and the general staff that the Kremlin has decided to increase the production of military equipment for the Russian army and reduce the export of weapons. According to British intelligence, the Russian Federation is accumulating forces for the active military phase in Ukraine in 2023. The SBU continues to collect the exchange fund, and they have already reached insanity, and after the guards, you need to wait for the arrests of teachers, doctors, firefighters. Investigators declared suspicion to 2 residents of the Kharkiv region who worked in the occupation administration. According to the investigation, the man worked as a security guard at the checkpoint, and the woman collected data on pensioners and handed them over to the occupiers. Backstage rumors. The Western press inflates that Ukraine can completely go out if the RF armed forces continue massive missile attacks. At this moment, the office of the president launches an anti-crisis with the message that the armed forces of Ukraine will soon be in Lugansk, Donetsk, and Sevastopol. Such stuffing is done intentionally to distract the Ukrainians. On the sidelines for a long time no one believes and does not listen to the empty statements of the office of the president. Many joke that listen to office and do the opposite. Backstage rumors. There were rumors on the sidelines that the office of the president was preparing a series of sociological surveys. Topics already selected: attitudes towards the UOK and Zelensky's actions to clean up the religious opposition. Admission of the military to government. Continuation of intrigues against Zaluzhny. The readiness of the population to endure all hardships for the sake of victory, an attempt to extinguish the growing negative in society, the attitude of Ukrainians to the ban on everything Russian, the demolition of monuments, and so on. Emphasis on supporting hard Ukrainianization in society, attitude to the UPA and Bandera. Preparations for the installation of monuments to the UPA and Bandera in each region. Zelensky's rating, figures up to 80% will be drawn here. The closer the elections, the more custom-made sociology will be. China strikes again on the US dollar. Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to Saudi Arabia began today. This visit was postponed many times, but nevertheless took place. The main purpose of the visit is to politically consolidate the transfer of oil trade to yuan. Since the 70s, the main partner of the Gulf monarchies has been the United States. But now their paths have diverged. OPEC, contrary to the requirements of the states, is reducing, not increasing production. In fact, in the competition between the US and China, the Middle East has relied on dynamic Asia. Past attempts to abandon the dollar in the calculations for oil ended in failure. Hussein and Gaddafi will not let you lie. But now the situation has changed. China has overtaken the United States in terms of GDP at PPP and is ready to protect its partners. Danish Saxo Bank experts agree with this forecast. But they believe that in addition to China, India and the OPEC Plus countries will also abandon the US dollar. According to Saxo Bank, these countries will announce their withdrawal from the IMF and the desire to stop trading in dollars. Therefore, they will use the new reserve currency to continue trading. Opinion. Schultz repeats like a mantra that in the event of a cold winter, rolling blackouts await Germany. In France, power outages are being tested in case of forced blackouts. The Prime Minister of Estonia says that blackouts in winter are inevitable. In Europe, they understand that with the cold weather, new streams of Ukrainian refugees fleeing blackouts will pour into them. Those who better promote their own problems with electricity will face a smaller flow of refugees into their country. Inside. The source said that the office of the president is urging Zaluzhny to continue the counteroffensive in order to reverse the growing negative track in the West. It is the winter military campaign that should be decisive for Ukraine. At Bankova they want to demonstrate to our partners that the armed forces of Ukraine are capable of defeating the Russian army even in cold weather. 31 shells with a caliber of 152 to 155 mm were fired at Donetsk from 6 a.m. And this is not counting the Grad MLRS rockets, which are also used to shell city blocks. The shelling of the city continues. We already reported yesterday that this did not happen in all 9 months of the war, but was caused by the negative dynamics of the negotiations, which Stoltenberg confirmed. Western countries should continue to supply weapons to Ukraine. There are no conditions for a peaceful settlement of the military conflict in Ukraine now. In response to this, the Russian media are demanding revenge for Donetsk. The negotiation window is rapidly closing. Rumors. The source reports that the quality of tap drinking water in Ukraine has actually fallen to the level of technical. It is not advised to drink it, as you can catch many diseases. The energy crisis has a negative impact on all processes throughout the country. Many experts believe that Ukraine is threatened by many epidemics, as the level of medicine has collapsed, the quality of life is at the bottom, poverty is progressing. At the same time, life will deteriorate due to a long exhausting war, which, like a cancer, destroys all processes in the country. Rumors. The source reports that the Russians are again massively using in the Donbass the heavy flamethrower system Santsipok for strikes in the forest belt and around the city. The losses of the armed forces of Ukraine due to this factor are enormous. All hospitals in the region are full. With all this, the office of the president is forcing the armed forces of Ukraine to attack the Russians in the opposite direction, which also increases losses. No one will say the exact number of losses of the armed forces of Ukraine, but it is somewhere from 200 to 1,000 people per day. These are killed and wounded. Layout. The mayor of Kiev is one of the first to start preparing for the 2023 elections, which is very annoying for the office of the president, which has already ordered information campaigns against Klitschko. According to the source, Klitschko went ahead of the curve and began to offer Zaluzny his political power, where the commander-in-chief would receive a quota of more than 25% of the seats in the top 20. Backstage rumors. There were rumors on the sidelines that everyone was waiting for the escalation of the Ukrainian crisis. Another military offensive is expected. In any case, this is bad for the Ukrainian people. This will aggravate the situation even more, and a possible defeat will only increase disappointment among the masses and trigger depression. So far, there are no signs of improvement. Rumors. The source reports that the shortage of heavy weapons in the Ukrainian army will increase. Partners donate less per month than the APU loses in a week. According to the source, in the spring, 50% of the armed forces of Ukraine will move in pickup trucks, some kind of light cavalry in the new realities of war. It is more maneuverable for raids, but the cost of a soldier's life is reduced, which provokes an increase in losses. By the end of 2023, the percentage could reach 70% if partners continue to sabotage the case of transferred heavy weapons. Difficult situation in the repair and recovery case. A huge number of enterprises have been put out of action, plus the energy crisis adds to the problems. Opinion. Merkel admits that the Minsk agreements were a temporary trap for the Russian Federation. Minsk agreement in 2014 was an attempt to give Ukraine time. They used this time to become stronger, which can be seen today. Ukraine of 2014 to 2015 is not today's Ukraine. As we could see during the fighting in the Debaltsev region in 2015, Russia could have easily won then. We agree with Pani Chancellor that time is a strategic resource in a global confrontation, and it must be taken into account. The West has done a great job during these 8 years. See you soon.